T-minus 10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
All righty. Buckle up, giddy up, and ready to have a hell of a lot of fun over the next 2 hours. It's the RP Show, everybody, streaming on the Game Plus YouTube channel, our own Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel, podcast WQBZ. We got Kevin the Medium coming up. We're going to have a lot of chuckles with Kev. I just know that. And in hour 2, we teased this yesterday when the Toronto Maple Leafs dropped that bomb Wednesday morning. They were hiring Jim Hiller as their next head coach. I'm like, who knows Hiller really well? Westy. He's never been on this show. Craig West is going to be joining us from wherever the hell he is now. I think Los Angeles. Craig West, the Hall of Fame voice of the Spokane Chiefs and Tri-City Americans and the Spokane Indians Baseball Club. Craig West is going to be with us in hour 2 when we go to air across Nevada. Kevin the Medium is here, as I said, from the Hughes Sportscast. He sees dead people and talks to them too. What's up, Kev?
I'm good. How are you doing, my friend?
Well, as you can tell, I'm in a great mood. It's a very big day. For the first time in my 53 years, I'm wearing a soccer jersey. We're going to be doing for the first time in my life, I have put on a soccer jersey today because we're doing a live stream later today for the Canada-Qatar game. We're going to do a jersey reveal in the last segment of hour 2 today. This jersey sent to me by BC Game. What do you think? Have you ever worn a soccer jersey in your life, Kev?
You know, I'm going to say no. I might have when I was a kid. I remember playing soccer when I was a kid. I was goalie. But I'm going to say no. I think we just wore T-shirts.
Yeah, well, I can guarantee you that I never have. So today I am. And speaking of these reveal parties, Kevin is still trying to recuperate. Remember from that gender reveal party, Kev, that one that we went to in Calgary when the fireworks went off and you dropped your pants and you went, surprise! Oh, not that kind of gender reveal. See, I'm ready to go and have a good day. Yeah. Okay, so the big look, come on. You'd have to be living under a rock. And even under a rock, I think they're talking about World Cup. Canada's men's soccer team captain, Alphonso Davies, has the green light to play in today's World Cup match against Qatar in Vancouver. He hasn't played since May due to a hamstring injury. Huge game for Canada. As you know, they tied their opponents, Bosnia-Herzegovina, last Friday, 1-1. Kev, they're playing it in your backyard, BC Place in Vancouver. I know you're going to be dialed in.
I am. I've got it set up so we can watch it on the big screen. And it's can you imagine being there? What is there? I think there's 53,000 seats, and there's probably another 100,000+ outside screaming and yelling. It's going to be the atmosphere to be around. I get goosebumps. I'm doing my medium thing. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. If Canada can pull off a win in this, wow. I hope. Do you remember? Of course you remember the 2010 Olympics. And how Canada Pride just swept across the prairies, then through the east. I have a feeling that is going to happen again when notice the words I'm using, when Canada beats Qatar. And it's going to be big. And thank you for calling it Qatar. People are calling that country Qatar.
Well, listen, I'm not a complete rube. And I remember when the World Cup was in Qatar. Well, I got a really good friend, Simon Fudge, who's frankly, does the name Simon Fudge mean anything to you? Like, he's a huge guy in Canadian soccer circles, and he's originally from Regina. And he, like everybody else, was always trying to get me into soccer. And I'm like, I got 8 million things on the go, man. We're doing this show every day. We had a baseball game last night that ended up being rained out after sitting around for 2. I got a lot of things going on. So I'm sure there's a lot of soccer people going, how and why is Rod hosting a live stream for a soccer game on a European crypto casino streaming site? I don't get it either, but they came to me. You and I talked about this. You sent me a jersey to wear, and I'm going to have a hell of a lot of fun, and Moose is going to be with us. I hope you and Angela can tune in for at least a portion of the live stream. Like, I'm not worried about it because I've walked through hell and fire many times and come back alive. I can handle a damn live stream. And Moose, like I say, is going to be doing it from Los Angeles, so it's going to be fun. Let's all have fun. This should all be fun. So far, Kev, the World Cup seems like a lot of fun for me. How about you?
Oh, yes. I mean, you watch the stories, and the games are almost a sideline to me. I'm watching the stories of the Australians just going crazy in Vancouver, how Boston was taken over by Scotland. And it's just fun to watch.
Really funny you brought that up because I was just reading an article about Team Japan, and you were just there a couple of weeks ago. Their fans are taking over Texas. And just think about this for one sec. It's blowing their ever-picking minds. Japanese people in Texas. And just so you know, have you ever been to Texas, Kev?
Yes, I have.
No, it's a different world, just like
It
Japan's
is.
a different world and Quebec's a different world. It's a different world. But it's
Well,
just blowing their mind. Like, have you ever heard
and
of
you,
Buc-ee's gas station? They're tweeting and they're posting photos of Buc-ee's. Have you been to a Buc-ee's?
I've been to a Buc-ee's twice. When we went to
Yeah.
Galveston, the lady driving us from Houston to Galveston stopped at Buc-ee's on the way down, stopped at Buc-ee's on the way home. It's
For,
if you go to Texas and don't stop at a Buc-ee's, you're missing out.
yeah, and we have them in Florida too. So folks that so the Japanese fans are like, what is this? It's a gas station the size of a Walmart supercenter that
Oh,
sells
that
everything, and pretty much everybody's wearing camouflage and rubber boots. Hello, welcome to the U.S. South, and just sheer. It's Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. And for those that haven't been, just so you know, to Texas, I was out for my walk this morning, Kev, as I do every morning. They're really getting a kick out of me now in Moose Jaw because now they're looking for me because they say I walk miles every day. I'm that guy. And this morning I'm walking down Warner Street, and I was like, smells like Texas, which Saskatchewan, Alberta, they all smell the same. It's not an insult, but it's, and you know what that smell is?
that smell of money,
No, it's the smell of agriculture.
which is
So that's the,
money.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, the smell of money. Okay, yeah, you got it. The same thing, exactly. So, anyways, we're having fun with the World Cup. And also,
Back to
we're going to
Japan.
get to,
Back
yeah,
to
go
Japan
ahead.
before we jump away from it. Did you read that the whole stadium was shocked because the Japanese players left the locker room cleaner than it was when they left, and when the Japanese fans left the arena,
Oh,
they actually cleaned up after themselves. They had garbage bags and they were picking up garbage as they were leaving. That's
please
the
do
Japanese.
not. Please do not get me started. You know where I stand on that. And you and I stand the same on that. Like Kev came back from Japan and said, we could learn a lot
Oh,
from this
so
culture.
much.
And I'm not sure, I don't know that we're going back. So that just, yeah, I'm of the same mind. I could tell you some stories. Anyways, Kev has some very strong opinions on Kelly McCrimmon. We've got
Me?
CFL Week 3 picks. Yeah, the Blue Jays are playing in the midst of all of this, and they're actually winning. So we'll be right back. This is the warm-up for Uniglobe Carefree Travel, and you're watching the RP Show.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and
and
Alateen
Alateen
can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
I can't wait for the Dwight Yoakam concert, June 24th at the Rempel Temple, and thank you to them for getting me a ticket for it. And by the way, I left my notebook at home, Kev. I don't have my sponsor sheet with me. Just trust me when we talk hockey. It's for the Mad Greek Eatery. Went for the letter for lunch the other day. Probably going to be going today. The Mad Greek, just do it. Tell the Mad Greek, Johnny, you treat us, we sent you. What are you shaking your head at, Kev?
The fact that you're excited to see Dwight Yoakam. It makes
oh, my
me
God.
shake.
Oh, it's
So
going to be lit. It's going to be lit. The viewers are excited, and they have a lot to say. Vancouver Van East Eric writes in. He says, soccer is great once every 4 years. Not disputing that. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, the smell of Jerry Jones in Moose Jaw? Yes. And I had a dream the other night that I had supper with Jerry Jones. I feel like it might be a premonition, Kev. You and I need to talk about that. Utah Darren writes in. He says, the Japanese are the most disciplined people anywhere. Yes, I learned that in getting my degree in human studies, in human behavior. The Asians are the most disciplined race on the planet. It's all learned. It's everything we do is learned. And BW in Edmonton writes in and says, Bucky's is coming to Chilliwack in 2027. Okay, so Kelly McCrimmon, the general manager of the Vegas Golden Knights, point 2 of the Quick Six show topics is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Kelly McCrimmon addressed why they're not bringing back John Tortorella as head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, why they've given Ryan Craig his first ever head coaching job with the Golden Knights, and then addressed the haters, the Vegas haters. Everybody's seen the clip. Everybody's raging. People are coming at me because clearly I support Kelly. Always have. Kevin's a hater. He don't mind saying it. And for those that don't know, Kelly stood there and basically said, what it all comes down to is jealousy. We've done a hell of a job here. You want to point out the expansion rules? Seattle's had the same rules. Where are they? And to be honest, I know. Just let me get off my soapbox before you come and step on it. But I was a little disappointed that Kelly felt the need to address it because I'm like, you know what, just be above it. But I also understand sometimes you get to a point where enough's enough. And for Kelly McCrimmon yesterday, enough was enough. Over to you, Kevin.
Now, yes, Seattle, Vegas both had the same rules. Seattle was every GM in the league going into panic mode because they were afraid Vegas was going to take this person or that person. So Vegas ended up with 14, count them, 4 extra draft picks in that first year. Plus they ended up with 6 extra players. They had a stacked team from the start. And you know what? they have used that and built something really special. Now, they also, when the people call them cheaters, they didn't cheat by the definition, but they bent those rules. They used the rules to their favor, the LITR. They changed that because of McCrinnan. He manipulated that, and it worked in their favor. You know why I have this deep-seated grr when it comes to the Vegas? I was sitting in Calgary. I was listening to the Fan 960, and there was a Vegas reporter on there, and that beep, beep, beep said, us long-suffering Vegas fans. Well,
I'm sure he was joking.
No, the announcer or the interviewer called him out on it. He goes, it's been blank years. Let's call it 4 years at that time. And we haven't, and I'm like, are you effing with me? Like, no, you can't be doing this.
Well,
I don't think I'll ever get over that. I don't think I'll ever get over the Vegas hate.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I brought it up. And I'm gonna possibly burst your bubble here a little bit. If that was 4 years into their existence, that might have been that might have been me you were listening to, because I was on Fan 960 regularly then and following and supporting the Vegas Golden Knights. And I used to say that on every interview that I was on, that I was a long-suffering Vegas fan as a joke. And okay, so I know I made enraging Calgary sports fans a sport, and I was pretty damn good at it. You know, I'm just saying, Kev. Well, and that's, back to the human behavior thing. There's a lady coming at me today. She's a Rider fan who lives in Calgary because I'm supporting Kelly McCrimmon, and she's bringing up some bad terms and mega and all these things. And all I'll say, she's bringing up the Carter Hart stuff, and I'm like, I'm not sure what you don't understand about the term acquitted, but what I also know very well, and you do too, is you ain't ever going to change those people's minds. So you have a nice day. And it's kind of what Kelly's saying.
I actually used that term on Jake and our podcast, the Hughes Sports Podcast last night. You people, because of, I don't know if you watched Hockey Night in Canada on the last game, but Ron McLean had to apologize for using a term for a drug. I won't use it, but I don't understand why it's bad. He was talking about the movie Hangover, and that drug was used as in the movie. It was portrayed in the movie, and he was referring to it. While people blew up and got all upset, and so much so that he felt he needed to come out and apologize. And I was just like, for fudge sakes, come on, people. Like, it's
or he was forced
a little too far.
Or he was forced to apologize by his bosses, which is a whole other matter entirely. But as a matter of fact, if you want to go down that road, I'm more than fine with it. Kevin and I are together for most of hour one today. He'll be here for a Football Friday tomorrow, too. So I know everybody's all geeked up about Week 3 in the CFL. Trust me, we both are. But people also understand there's a hell of a lot of other things going on, too. Utah, Darren writes in and says, Kevin, John Madden used to call that using a fair advantage, using existing rules to your advantage. Listen, I'm not going to go back and forth with Kev. He clearly has his take. I've said to everybody, what rule did Vegas break? Please tell me what rule they broke. They can't answer that.
They didn't, and I prefaced my comment by they didn't break the rule. They manipulated the rule. The actual, what's the word I'm looking for? The actual blank of the rule, the purpose of the rule. That's not the right word, but they manipulated it. That's why. Come on, I mean, it's not a secret. That's why they had to change the LITR rules, because of Vegas. Now Vancouver did it too back in 2011. It was a thing, but Vegas just took it to that next level.
Well, and again, I tell you what, I encourage you or anybody to go. It's on my Twitter. You can find it and look at the 2-minute clip from Kelly McCrimmon yesterday, because he pretty much leaned back and at all the hater on everything. The LTIR thing, on the expansion draft rules thing, like he just gave it to him and said it's outright jealousy. On the apologizing thing, producer Corey says, I would have quit apologizing because of a mob with no brain. Is not my problem. Well, listen, we got a lot of time left here, and I do want to get into the CFL stuff. That's why a lot of people came here today. But in the time that's left of this With the Hockey Night in Canada, you and I didn't talk about this, but I've talked to a few people about Dave Hodge and his comments. The iconic Dave Hodge. Everybody's so upset about Hockey Night in Canada going away, which, unless I've missed something here, I don't think it's going away. It's just not on CBC anymore. There's a big difference. And number two, Dave Hodge goes, it's not what it was. So what are we mourning here? It looks like all the other broadcasts, there's no light blue blazers. It's not what it was. So what's everybody so upset about? But that's just Canada.
Well, yeah, and I've asked people, it's like, when's the last time you actually watched a game on CBC? There was one guy on our podcast that says, well, I watch it on CBC all the time. And I'm like, yeah, you probably live somewhere in the middle of Manitoba, way up north, and you got your antennas and you got your wife hanging on and she's pointing her hand to get the right signal to come in. Jay corrected me. Apparently you can't do that anymore. But nobody watches CBC. And it wasn't a Sportsnet saying no. It was CBC saying, we can't afford this anymore. We don't want to do this. So, okay. I'm with you. I was kind of pissed off that they did it in a 2-line tweet. They should have been a little bit more to it, but whatever. Move on.
Well, it's like the number one topic that I've seen across Canada this week outside of the World Cup. And it's like you don't even understand unless I've misread this, and I've only been in this shitty trade 38 years. I'm pretty sure Hockey Night in Canada isn't dying. But again, it's whatever. That's why I don't spend as much time on social media as I did. Like my sponsor, Bob Krusty, texted me. He's like, is Ron MacLean going away? I'm like, probably not. But to be honest, every young broadcaster wants to be in Ron MacLean's shoes hosting Hockey Night in Canada Saturday nights. I never did because you can't please everybody. And it's way, way, way worse now. Right? With what he said about with the roofie. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, BW writes in and says, he says, Kelly was awesome regarding Kelly McCrimmon's comments. John in Edmonton says, breaking news from Elliot Friedman. The NHL is clearing Mike Babcock to coach the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers are free to hire him. Thank you, John, for the breaking news. You want to talk about a controversy? He's going to make Ron MacLean's look like patty cake. Well, or Don Cherries or anybody else for that matter. I'm actually... I don't know what's gone on here or how. This has gone sideways. Go ahead.
I'm going to do some research on the next break because, oh, wow, that would open up a can of worms that you can never close up again. Yeah, I not too often I'm speechless, but what?
If there's one thing that might overshadow the World Cup in Canada, and they're playing today, Canada in Vancouver against Qatar, it might be the Edmonton Oilers hiring Mike Babcock, and oh my gosh. I just, again, here's a preface for everybody. Next segment will be all football and CFL because, again, I know that's why a lot of you came here today. Tomorrow it's going to be all football because that's what we do on a Football Friday. But again, I'm also sitting back here listening to Kelly McCrimmon yesterday when he said we gave one team permission to talk to Bruce Cassidy. It didn't come to fruition, and the rest are case by case. Mike, he didn't say that it was the Oilers. There's still it could have been the Leafs that Cassidy talked to. I don't know. Which, by the way, the poll question today is, will the Leafs get to the Stanley Cup with John Chayka and Jim Hiller? We'll discuss that way more in hour 2 when Craig West joins us. Westy, good personal friend of Jim Hiller's. They were together in Tri-City for a long time. But anyways, I'm not... Until the announcement's made, the Babcock stuff, the Cassidy stuff with the Oilers, it's kind of hard to follow. What's it like? You don't follow it as much as me. You follow it, but not as much as me. What's it look like to you? What you've seen over the last week?
Does the word cluster mean anything? Like, this has just been a nightmare of PR. Like, who's running the ship here? I don't understand it. Like, is that the only person left that could coach? I don't get it.
She's, by the way, John, same from John's writing into the chat. He's writing into the Western Dodge text line. Thank you, John. Says Emily Kaplan from ESPN reporting the same thing, that Mike Babcock has been cleared. I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. He didn't do anything illegal. He did things that were mean. Like, I'm going to be honest. There's the law, and then there's morality. So he was mean to his players.
Moral, maybe. Yeah. I mean, definitely immoral, not illegal, but I wouldn't want him coaching my kids. Not with that.
I don't know. Oh, no. I tell you what, I'm glad this isn't my problem to deal with, because I saw a quote from an NHLer this morning. I can't remember his name because we see a million different things, but he said Mike Babcock is the only coach he's ever had that made him hate hockey, not want to come to the rink. Played for him in the National Hockey League. And all these players are saying it. Trust me, I get it. When I say I don't care, like I don't have a problem with Babs because he's always been good to me, I wouldn't hire him to coach my team. Not today. Maybe 20 years ago I would have, but I would not now. So my point is, I'm glad I'm not the Oilers, because you're just stepping into the biggest mess you've ever had as a franchise on your own free will. That's the one thing with these teams. Back in the day with the Rough Riders, they're like, you're making us look bad. I'm like, no, you're making you look bad, and I'm not covering your ass. The Oilers are stepping into a crap storm here on their own volition, and I have no idea why. I guess my question is, what went down that Cassidy road that you wouldn't hire Bruce Cassidy? Because as of 2 weeks ago, he wanted the job and they wanted him. What's changed? So I don't think this story is over yet, and I still think Bruce Cassidy will end up coaching there. If he doesn't, then there's – you want to talk about investigations? There should be a far bigger investigation as to how Mike Babcock got hired over Bruce Cassidy, but it hasn't happened yet. So hang on. What a day. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Dean Brody and the Wreck Loss, teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else, I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts, one stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour.
In the back rows and we know like the back of our hands.
Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, it's the warm-up. It's the final segment with Kevin the Medium. Score a touchdown in the Caribbean. Join CFL legend Adam Bighill and Rough Riders linebacker Jameer Thurman on a 7-day cruise departing from Fort Lauderdale on February 20th. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. Prices from $18.99. Cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel. His email is neil@uniglobecarefree.ca. Kev's going to be on that cruise. I may or may not find my way onto that cruise. I don't know. That is so far away, man. I'm worried about this afternoon. Getting through this show and hosting a live stream. And then tomorrow, I'll worry about tomorrow, not February. But you can join them all. And again, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. I'll get to everybody else's questions in a second. It is week 3 in the CFL. Are you prepared to do picks, Kev? Because Scruffy didn't want to do them earlier in the week.
I am. I did my picks last night on our, so I am ready.
Well, I forgot my notepad, so I got a simple. I don't really know what I picked earlier in the week. Has it changed? Not really. Hasn't really changed. Week 3 opens Friday night, BC at Hamilton. And trust me, folks, we're going to get into a Nathan Rourke discussion here in a sec. But, Kev, you gave me some info about the Lions lineup that's not entirely encouraging.
No.
Is the injury woes enough to make you not pick them at Hamilton Friday night?
I can't not pick them. Even though if I was like betting $1 million, I'd probably pick Hamilton. But because I'm a diehard Lions fan, I got to take the Lions. What Rod is talking about is top 4 receivers for BC gone for this game. 1 with a foot, 3 with thigh injuries after the game in Saskatchewan. So going to be tough. Rourke is going to have to pull it to a different level. He wasn't that good last week. He was average. I think it was 65% completion rating. Not good enough to win a game. So he's going to have to take it to a new level on Friday. Hopefully he can. I'm not holding my breath, let's put it that way. But I am picking my BC Lions.
I'll take Hamilton, and that doesn't I don't like doing that because of Bo, but because of the rub against Kevin and him taking BC, I'll take Hamilton. But here's the thing on Nathan Rourke. Let's spend a little time on this. All the BC Lions people are watching the show. I don't want to offend anybody there, but I always offend everybody anyways. So I will admit, however, 1,759 episodes in, talking to Moose, I've never had to apologize for anything. Never had to apologize for anything. I'm not going to apologize for this either. Like Nathan Rourke, I think he's a hell of a young man. I think he's a really great man. I talked about this with Scruffy earlier in the week. There's a lot of hate for Nathan Rourke out there, specifically here in the rectangle. And Scruffy said, it's just because he plays for another team. That's the way Rider fans are. And he's totally not wrong. I laugh because in South Florida, they hated Tom Brady. Hated Tom Brady when I first got to South Florida. Then he retires and moves there. Now he's our Tom. So, I mean, it's just the way people are. But the thing with Nathan, he had a 93.3 quarterback rating coming out of that game Saturday. And you're right. He wasn't that good. So I don't really care how good a person you are. And no fan does. You got to win, Nathan. You got to start winning. And with those injuries, by the way, get used to this, Kev. Because the Riders face masked him. They roughed him. The low hits. That's Rough Rider football, baby. It's back. So if people are upset about that, yeah, that's the way they're going to play bully ball on defense under Corey Mace.
2011, I remember BC being called the dirtiest team in the league. And I loved it because guess what?
Right.
We were freaking winning. We won. We won it all. We raised that cup as the dirtiest team in the league. So did they miss some calls? I watched the game. I didn't see a lot of dirty hits. But talking of Nathan, someone needs to sit this kid down and put him through media school. Because when you lose, you got to lose with grace. And to come out and bitch and whine saying that, I thought that last play there was a missed call, and I thought this, and there was a bunch of low hit. Shut up. Suck it up. You weren't good enough. and you didn't play well enough. Your whole team, from top to bottom, was mediocre at best. So go back to the drawing board, run 2-a-days, and get it together. We have a saying in football, next up. It's in sports, next up. And unfortunately, this is 4 times next up. So these guys have been waiting. They've been sitting on the sidelines going, just give me an opportunity, coach. Just give me an opportunity. Well, here's your opportunity. Shine.
Well, and for me, I mean, that's very eloquently said, especially from a BC fan, which you are, and pundit and a podcast host, the Hughes Sports Podcast. Kevin hosts it every week with his son, Jake. Scott in Vancouver writes that he says lots of Lions wide receivers are out or questionable this week. Vancouver Eric says could start out 0-4 heading back to BC Place. Well, the coaches will say, let's go one game at a time. The injuries aren't going to help. I did talk to the Lions personnel about those touchdown Kelowna games, and they're excited. They're divisional games. Woosa. Let's not get too panicked here. It is the CFL after all. You can survive a bad start. The BC Lions are Exhibit A of that. Go ahead. What?
It's one game. We only played one game so far. I have people here in town planning a parade. We're going 18.
Rider fans.
Yes. I'm like,
oh, yeah. Well, that's...
It's one game.
That's a whole other topic. Vancouver Eric says he's a competitor, Kevin. Emotions are part of the game. Listen, there's no bigger Lions fan than Kevin. I'm with Kevin on this one. You want to say something? I can tell you do.
Yes. I mean, yes, it's his emotions. But as a professional sports figure, the face of the league, the face of the BC Lions anyways, you can't ever put a blemish on that team. And I'm sorry. I mean, I love him. I went out and bought his damn jersey this year. He put a blemish on it again. Look back, was it last year where he disrespected probably one of the best reporters for the CFL in Farhan Lalji? Now this? Come on, no. Someone needs to sit this kid down and give him a slap upside the head and say, Nathan, you need to get better. You need to be better. This isn't acceptable.
I'm going to be honest. You couldn't be more right. And I don't know if they're going to be successful because I'll be perfectly honest with you. When I was his age in this league, shooting my mouth off, people were telling me that. And guess what? I didn't listen. Now, I can now say that I've gone on to the Hall of Fame. Nice feeling. However, the road there has been very bumpy and painful to the degree that now I was with the BC Lions people on Saturday, and I don't really mind saying they were sort of like, say this, but please don't say that. And I'm like, no problem. Same thing with the Florida Panthers. I'm like, I'm sitting here with a scoop. Do you mind if I said it? We'd rather you didn't. So okay. I didn't. I listened, right? Wow. Things go a hell of a lot more smoothly when you listen. Now, is Nathan working a sit down? Because I'm 53, not 28. I don't know if he's able to bite his tongue. This could be real fun to watch.
It's going to be interesting to see. And I mean, we go back to our day when we were younger. I mean, I anybody who's ever followed me on Facebook, go back and look 10 years ago at me on Facebook. You wouldn't like me. I was not a nice person.
I don't like you now. I can't imagine what it was like then.
Oh, it was so bad, Rod. I have memories coming up where I'm literally embarrassed by what I've said on Facebook. I literally am. I'm like, I should call this person and apologize because I was not a nice person. Anyway, but that you need when you're the face, when you're out there, you need to have some dignity. You need to know what to say. Saying, "Oh, the refs missed calls." What do you think that's going to do? It's just going to piss the referees off.
Trust me, it does. Yeah, but the thing is, just like Kelly McCrimmon, I'm sorry to say, once you win, you get a lot more license with what you do say. Like, it's like, Nathan, if you win a Grey Cup, you can pretty much sit there and shoot your mouth off all you want. You can't right now. And the league is propping him up as the face of the league. Clearly they are.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just interested to see, again, where that goes. Kev, spoiler alert, we got 1-1 pick. I picked the Ticats. Kevin picked the Lions, and then we're going to have to break. We'll do the rest tomorrow. By the way, the game of the week is Riders Stampeders in Calgary. Any last? What's 30. Okay, well, 30 seconds, Kev. Last word is yours.
Last word. Well, let's hope this weather clears up. We're heading back up to the camper to fix things that don't need fixing, as you know. And we're going to try to have a fire, but we'll see. I'm kind of looking out going, it doesn't look good. So till tomorrow, I might be wet. We'll be back.
Sounds like you're hanging out with my dad. Be safe. Stay dry. See you tomorrow. Be right back.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hope that you are having as much fun as the hosts of this show are today, and producer Corey as well. Everybody's excited to get Westy on next hour. And I don't know why, through 1,759 episodes of this RP show, we haven't had Westy on yet. Because he's excited to come on. All the dub broadcasters are excited. This guy's a treat. Okay, Craig West, when I first, I'll tell you a little story now. It's a lot easier because we're in hour one, the Canadian hour, streaming on Game Plus. WQVZ, yes. This isn't a swear, but just be ready. How this all came about was yesterday. It drops first thing in the morning. The Toronto Maple Leafs are hiring Jim Hiller to be their next head coach, which we are all applauding anybody that knows him. But I was sitting there going, and I'd already had James Gallo lined up to come on, which did a splendid job, James. I mean, who knows Hiller the best? Westy. He was with him in Tri-City. Shoot him a text. Westy, you want to come on the show, talk about Hiller? He's like, I'm game. And I don't even know what Westy's doing now. For years and years, like many, 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 many years, he was the voice of the Spokane Chiefs and then the Tri-City Americans and the Spokane Indians Baseball Club. He's originally from L.A. He's kind of a baseball guy, but I think he might be in Vegas. I don't know where Westy is now, but he's going to be with us in hour 2 to talk about Hiller and a lot of great hockey stories and some baseball too and all the rest. But I recently did that interview about old Taylor Field, the old home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and what a dump it was. And I know that offends some people, but I don't really care. I had to work there every day, and it was a dump. Anybody that worked there would know it was a dump. And it reminds me of 1993. Picture it. We roll into Spokane with the Prince Albert Raiders at that time. It might have been a little after. Well, I was with the Raiders, so it was 93, 94, or 95. One of those years. They were starting to have plans to build the new, glitzy, probably the nicest arena in the Dub, Spokane Arena. It's amazing. I love that place. But they had an old rink called the Boone Street Barn. And I can't remember what its actual official name was. I'll ask Westy next hour. But that place it was an old theater. And all the outside walls were glass. And when you were walking around the concourse, you saw downtown Spokane. One end of the arena was a gigantic stage. Like, I don't know what the hell they had in there. The boards were the old, you'd hit them and they'd wobble down. Like, it sounded like you murdered the guy when you hit somebody, but then the guy would pop right back up because it was just like an old, like a WWF thing. It was just so cool, man. You walked in, you'd smell the popcorn, hear the music. That was hockey. And Westy and I got to be close friends real fast. And I was 20, 21. And I was like, Westy, I can't believe they're going to knock this place down. I'm sure he won't mind me saying this on the air. And they were building this just glitzy new arena right across the river. And he goes, this dump, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. When it's a parking lot, I'm going to park here and piss on it every day. That's when I realized it's okay to say what I said about Taylor Field. It was ready to go, just like the Boone Street Barn. But Craig West, beauty. And everybody's excited to see him coming up in hour 2. He's got chutzpah. He's got pizzazz. 902-518-3033 is the text line. And like I said, hope you are entertained. Here is your sports update. Pausing the quick 6 show topics because we got stopped on number 3. We'll pick those back up. But here's in the news, Canadian sports news today. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers announced that the late Cal Murphy will be this year's inductee to the Ring of Honor at Princess Auto Stadium. Murphy, who passed away in 2012, was a proud Winnipegger who initially served as head coach before becoming general manager and then ultimately holding both titles during his time with the Blue Bombers from 83 to 96. He will officially be added to the Ring of Honor at halftime when the Bombers host the BC Lions on Thursday, July 30th. So here's another story for you. My first season as voice of the Rough Riders, Cal Murphy was the head coach. And think about this. Cal was just getting out, and I was just getting in. And I remember, I think we played in BC twice that year. The very last game of the year was in BC, and that's a whole other story. But it says he's a proud Winnipegger, I guess, but he was raised in Vancouver, or specifically Burnaby, because I was such a knob. I was thinking about this the other day. I came from junior hockey where we were together all the time. Right? So I just hopped on the team bus, popped into a team meal, walked into coaches' meetings. That's what we did in junior hockey. And the CFL, I didn't realize the pro sports didn't really work that way, but nobody ever stopped me. So I was always around these guys. At that time, 26 years old. And I just remember riding the bus. Anybody that knows Vancouver would know the way. We land, team bus picks us up, Saskatchewan Roughriders, and we're going to bus down to BC Place for the day before practice. And Cal, we're winding our way through Burnaby in those tight streets. And Cal's like, I used to live right, I grew up right there. See, that's the thing about these coaches that, and the players too, but those are the things that I remember from my time in the league. Not really the games. People always want to talk about the game. How do I remember 27 years later, Cal Murphy pointing out where he grew up on this side street in Burnaby on our way down to the stadium? And he was always really, really, really good to me. And exceptionally good to me. But he he knew that I didn't know a football from a damn, you know what. So he helped me. And I felt bad because I was always so afraid to ask questions. I really was. Now I'm not. Now I don't. And now I'm back being afraid to ask questions because my questions cut right to the heart and the teams don't want to answer them. But I remember sitting in his office at Taylor Field and he put his finger up and he goes, of all the things I've won, there's one thing that I didn't get. And I didn't ask him. Like a knob, I didn't ask him. Morning, men. Moose Jaw Miller's reporting. We were rained out last night. Turns out, I believe what it was the all-time winningest record in Winnipeg, which I think was, can you guys help me out? I think Bud Grant owned that. I don't know. I never asked him. Now he's dead. But I'm pretty sure it was that he died as not the all-time winningest coach of Winnipeg Blue Bomber history, I think. But again, I never asked. 902-518-3033 is the text. I kind of got stalled on the Cal Murphy story there as far as our sports update goes. And I'd like to get it all in before the end of the hour, but maybe not. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, some epic Bombers versus Lions Cal Murphy playoff battles. John Ohm says, Coach Cal was a unique individual. Good on him getting in the Ring of Fire. I think it's Ring of Honor, but Steve writes in, he says, is Matt Sundin hockey operations above the general manager in Toronto? Did I see that? Hear that? As I heard a new GM yesterday when announcing Jim Hiller as the new head coach. None of it makes sense. And actually, I kind of meant to get into this earlier, but maybe it's a God shot that I didn't. Well, maybe this interview with Craig West will change people's minds on Jim Hiller. Like this show started 8 years ago, 1,759 episodes ago, with it just being Rod and his buddies. And here it is still Rod and his buddies. Like when Gallo was on yesterday, I said, have you noticed any positive response to Jim Hiller being hired in Toronto? And James was like, started to see some in the West. Yeah. Western Canada from the people that know him. Yeah. And nobody knows him better than Westy, who's going to come on and talk about. The point of the matter is, it doesn't matter what Sundin's doing or really Chayka or even Hiller. They're not going to win, and it's going to be really bad. And I think the Leaf fans are going to look back in the years ahead at this last 10 years and call them the good old days. Remember when we used to make the playoffs every year and we still bitched? That's what's coming. I don't need Kevin the Medium to tell me that. 902-518-3033. Sid and I work together, and that's the point. I want to be, I don't trash anybody in the business. And then I never have. But Sid saying this is, I saw the headline of his clip yesterday. This is the worst hire in the history of Leafs. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, guy, it smacked of click rage bait to me from Sid, which I get it. We're all in that business. We got a meeting today with a company that does that. So I get it. But is that how you really feel, Sid? Or can we just give the guy a chance? Like they're literally lighting the guy on fire before I even think he got to town. Jim Hiller. And you wonder why people don't want to go there. My God. What don't you see? David number 2 in Winnipeg writes, and he says, as a big fan of the CFL, players like Nathan Rourke need to realize that what they say and do is heavily scrutinized. Stop acting like you are entitled because of your talent. take the loss like a man and a professional. That's by the way, the other thing. I mean, I don't want to upset BC fans or the Lions staff. I'm just telling you what I see. It's once you win, you can say whatever the hell you want. You really can. But here's a league trying to prop you up and paying you very well. There's something that comes along with that for Nathan Rourke. I mean, I still believe Davis Alexander is better. And look at his record. I believe that's the game of the week, Montreal at Edmonton. Is Edmonton going to be the first team to beat Davis Alexander? I'm kind of thinking that they are. So, anyways, listen, I also don't want to be a hypocrite. I never listened to anybody at that age either. And I had a very big platform at his age in the same league, and I didn't listen to anybody. So I get it. But I also wasn't being paid $500,000. That's always the caveat. Nobody was calling me the face of the league. That would come years later. We'll be right back with Hour 2, everybody, in Westie right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
All right. It's a great day. It's a great day to have a great day. Welcome to the RP Show on Silver State Sports, where we're airing in prime time in Sin City. We got a lot of Vegas sports talk for you coming up in the next hour. Hockey talk, football talk, soccer talk, yeah. Also streaming on Game Plus and on the radio, WQVZ in the U.S. South. Shout out Ryan O'Media down there in Alabama, where they air us every game. We're so proud that we do all across the U.S. South. Ryan just happens to be in Alabama, the Elephant State. Did y'all know that? Our guest today is my good friend Craig Westy, who we've had to wait 1,759 episodes to get this cat on the air. Hall of Fame voice of the Chiefs, the Americans, and the Indians, and a whole lot of great things. Craig West will be joining us from where I don't even know where he is. I think he's either in L.A. or Vegas. We'll find out when he joins us, and he's going to join us to talk some hockey, talk some baseball. That's what he does. The hockey is about the poll question today, which we'll get to in a second. But we open with the warm-up. It's brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show, and the CFL's BC Lions. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. They're also sending that cruise out in February with CFL alum and stars. We'll tell you about that later because we have a lot to get to in a short amount of time. Quick 6 show topics. Look, number one in my world, because I periodically have to remind people this ain't Sports Center, it's the Rod Pedersen Show. It's what's big in my world. And number one, Canadian men's soccer team captain Alphonso Davies has the green light to play in today's World Cup match against Qatar and Vancouver. He hasn't played since May due to a hamstring injury. It's a huge game for Canada and Qatar because all 4 countries in Group B have a single point from draws to start the tournament. Canada claimed their first ever World Cup point in a 1-1 draw with Bosnia-Herzegovina in Toronto. Today's game is in Vancouver. And listen, nothing makes sense in the world. We talk about that here every day. The sooner we all stop trying to make sense of it, the better we'll sleep and the happier we'll be. Why have I been hired by a European crypto casino to host a live stream on their streaming platform, Gosh, for the Canada-Qatar game today? I have no idea, but I did. And for the first time in my 53 years, I'm wearing a soccer jersey. I've never put one on until today. So don't say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You actually can. The dog just has to be willing to learn or be paid. We're going to do a jersey reveal in the last segment of the. I got it on, but I'm not. No. You got to tune into the end to see this soccer jersey that was sent to me by BC Game. That is the global crypto casino. I'm getting into the World Cup. Like, I honestly am. And we're going to get to the hockey here right away. But as, like, when we go to air in Nevada, it's like the bullet train just pauses for a second. We've been going for an hour. Y'all get on, take off for hour 2. We've been talking about a lot here already. And one is my hour 1 co-host, Kevin the Medium. He's a medium. And he hosts the Hughes Sports Podcast, his Sportscaster too. He's saying that the stuff around the games has been as much fun or more fun than the games themselves. And he's not wrong. Yeah, this only comes around once every 4 years. That's probably a good thing, but it has helped with the hype of it all. And the one thing that caught my eye today is the Team Japan fans. All these people have come from Japan to Texas, and it's just blowing their minds. Well, of course it would. It's the great state. Everything's bigger in Texas. They're posting all these Buc-ee's. Have you ever been to a Buc-ee's? It's a Walmart supercenter gas station with at least 100 gas pumps, and it's like an amusement park for people that got to get gas. Buc-ee's. And they're like, Texas Roadhouse. Speaking of Texas, there's my guy, Weston Walls. Second in the league in strikeouts. They're just blown away by Texas. We're all blown away by Texas when we get there for the first time. To be honest, where I'm spending the summer, as you know, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Canada. I was out for my walk this morning, and I was like, smells like Texas. And you know what that is? Agriculture. Anyways, it's a lot of fun. This whole World Cup thing's a lot of fun. And as I get ready to move on to hockey here, I would just say go to my Twitter, at Rod Pedersen, RodPedersen, and that's where you'll find the link. Pin tweet. I can't believe I'm talking this language, but that's the way we are in the sports world now, sports media world. The link's there for Gosh. That's the streaming platform. We're going to have some fun, and Moose is going to co-host this with me. What 30 years ago, I'd have been real worried to host a live stream about a sport I know nothing about. Now I don't care. I've walked to hell and back, walked through the fire. I can watch a soccer game for 2 hours and talk about it. We live stream here every day. It's debatable whether we know what we're talking about here every day. Point two, Kelly McCrimmon spoke to the media on Wednesday about the Golden Knights' transition from John Tortorella to rookie head coach Ryan Craig, how the team's Stanley Cup run didn't affect the decision to not bring Tortorella back, and praised the former coach for instilling good habits in the team. You knew that he was going to say that, but far more delicious and what's going around today regarding Vegas haters. The team general manager said it's jealousy. And they've done a hell of a job in 9 seasons in Sin City. Cue the. You know that, and Kelly probably I don't think he cares. I've known him a very long time. But when you call out the haters, like, there's really no point ever doing that because they never ever shut up. They never ever look in the mirror. And to be honest, the great folks, Vince Sapienza at Silver State Sports, Fox 5 Vegas, tweeted that clip from Kelly McCrimmon. I retweeted it and said, truth speaker. That's got all the haters coming at me now. And I don't need to tell you what they're saying to me because they've been saying it about Vegas forever, but I've been saying this for months. What did I say? Number one, don't count this team out because Kelly will find a way. Number two, he's a winner. Number three, and even I was in an argument last hour with, not an argument, a discussion with our co-host Kevin the Medium because we don't fight here, but about the expansion rules. Kelly brought up all of them. Kelly sat there and just was like target shooting all the haters. You want to talk about expansion rules? Seattle had the same rules. Where are they? LTIR? Oh, yeah. We faked Mark Stone's back into it. One after one. To be honest, I was a little disappointed that Kelly felt the need to stand at the podium and say that because what do I always say? Actually, I say it more to myself than I say it to you, but I will say it to you. The people that need to know. So don't worry about the haters. But there's also that rule of thumb that, as our sales manager Joe says, he's walking around here right now, when the crap meter gets full, it gets full. Kelly had enough, and he ripped them all. So there's that. Good on him. You're never going to change the haters. And with regard to, and the life lesson here that I've learned kind of the hard way is hate is nothing more than jealousy just wearing a disguise. And I got a good friend here writing me, the original landman. He is, it's his job, landman in the oil field. The ironic thing is he's never even watched Landman because he's too busy working. But Mike, the landman, texts me and he says on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033, he says, hatred is almost always jealousy. That's also quite true in circles that aren't sports related. And let me just spend 30 seconds on this and then I'll move on. You're saying thank you. But when I got into the addiction recovery, mental health space, coaching there, my counselor, and I've been doing it 9 years. I would say I was in it like a year and having boffo success doing it because I've lived it. I've walked the shoes. It's not that easy to coach people when you've walked the road. All you're doing is showing them where to go. But anyways, my counselor came to me. His name's Rand, and he goes, 90% of my time is spent defending you. I said, why? Well, the therapy community, the psychiatric community didn't like the way you do things. I don't care. It's working. Well, yes, it is. I said, please do me a favor and stop defending me. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I've been dealing in the media for 30 years. I'm not going to put up with it in the recovery space. And here we are 8 years later, still trucking strong. Pedersen Recovery Incorporated is the company. You're welcome. Okay. Point three, I guess, I'll just say NHL coaching. And again, Craig West is coming up in the next segment, and everybody's excited to have Westy on the air to talk hockey. And I don't know if Westy's logged in yet or not, but we're going to get into some baseball too. But everybody else on your screens is talking World Cup or NFL or whatever. In Canada, they're all talking about this, frankly, what I'm about to talk about, and that is the coaching carousel. It's like when Jared Dumba was on here the other day. It's like hockey season doesn't need to be over because there's always something going on. And I haven't quite totally figured out. The point is the Toronto Maple Leafs dropped the bomb that Jim Hiller is going to be the 41st head coach in team history, hired by John Chayka, the general manager. That's why I texted Westy yesterday and said, can we get you on to talk about Hiller? Because they were together in Tri-City, and he's a big fan. Was with him in L.A. And the poll question today for Country Thunder, which, by the way, the biggest party of the summer, is coming July 9th to the 12th. There you go. Craven, Saskatchewan. Big outdoor country music festival. And we'll be there. Hope to see you there. Get your tickets at countrythunder.com/SK featuring Lainey Wilson, Creed, and the RP show. Will the Toronto Maple Leafs, what did I say? How did I word that? Let's just say, will the Toronto Maple Leafs get to the Stanley Cup with Chayka and Hiller? And actually, I'll put that to Westy. That'll be the first question I'll ask him when he comes on in the next segment. But for me, it's a no, and that's not a Jim Hiller. That's not his fault. Westy called the games in Spokane when Mike Babcock was there. So he'll have a lot of takes on all of this. Now that I think about it. Because here's the other news coming out of the NHL office today, as reported by ESPN's Adam Kaplan and Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman. The NHL is clearing Mike Babcock to return to coaching if he wants to. And the wording of the statement from the NHL would then make Babs look basically said, our investigation did not paint Babcock in a favorable light. We cannot stop his return to coach, however they want to do it. Something's going on here, and I don't know what it is, and maybe Westy can. Yes, I see 111 Eastern. Thanks for pointing that out. Maybe Westy knows, because he's plugged into the hockey world just like, and I'm plugged in pretty damn deep, but I don't know what's going on here. If you got a choice between Mike Babcock and Bruce Cassidy, and the Golden Knights are going to make him available, Cassidy, now to interview for jobs, which Kelly said they're going to, why would you hire Mike Babcock? And I'm not Bab's friend, but we are colleagues or whatever you want to say. There's no doubt. He's been on this show many times. Westy can address this when he comes. There's something going on that I don't know what it is, and maybe we can get to the bottom of it. But because everybody's saying, Babcock's the Oilers guy. Babcock's the Oilers guy. That's what everybody's saying today. Until they have the news conference, I won't believe it till then. Having said that, there were insiders saying Ryan Craig was going to be the Golden Knights guy, and he was announced on Tuesday. So, yeah. John in Edmonton, he's watching. He writes in, he says, Oilers fans and NHL fans are not happy right now. You probably know why. That's the point. Thank you, John in Edmonton, for pointing that out a little further. Why would you step into a crap storm like this when you don't need to? Like the thing with Babcock, I've worked for jerks before too. I'm not saying Babs is a jerk, but there are a lot of people who played for him who thinks that he is. And the NHL concluded, while he might be a mean guy, he's done nothing illegal that would make us bar him from the league. So he was mean. Your parents, you might have thought, were mean to you at one time. Like it's WHL 1986 writes in, he says, so Bruce Cassidy, where's he going? LOL. Well, the last I heard, he'll be on a golf course collecting $4.5 million US next season. So let's not worry about Bruce Cassidy. He's fine. Back to the craziness of this media game right now. Like when Kelly McCrimmon stood before the microphones on Wednesday and said, we allowed Bruce to speak to one team. That didn't come to fruition. Moving forward, it'll be a case-by-case basis. How do we know that one team wasn't the Leafs? How do we not know that Bruce Cassidy did an interview with Toronto and for whatever reason they decided to hire Jim Hiller? That's what I think might have happened. There's just so much speculation going on here right now. John, you're funny today. He says Cassidy will take over the coaching job in Henderson, Nevada. That's where Ryan Craig came from. And here's the thing. As we sit here today, that job has not been filled, but do you actually think for 10 seconds that Kelly McCrimmon doesn't have a plan? Watching people's heads pop off with regards to the haters and the Golden Knights and Kelly McCrimmon has really been the most entertaining thing of my life for the last 24 hours. Hey, Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, hey, Rod, we have a Miller and now a Hiller coaching in Hogtown. How about that? Ooh. At least they're getting cheeky with it. He's talking about Jim Hiller, the coach of the Leafs, and Mike Miller, the coach of the Toronto Argos. Poll results so far for Country Thunder, however, or by the way, are, well, on Instagram, 100% no. There you go again. 100% no, they don't think that Jim Hiller and John Chayka are going to lead the Leafs to the Stanley Cup. That's not saying win it. They haven't been in the Stanley Cup for a very long time, let alone winning it. So we got Westy coming in next, and he'll be talking Jim Hiller with us, some NHL, some baseball too, and whatever else is on his mind. We haven't even talked about the Knicks having their parade today. The chat is brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Check them out at prairiepanels.ca. We'll be right back. Get the text line humming, the chat as well. We'll be right back on Silver State Sports, WQVZ, and Game Plus streaming.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your effort, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, Done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, hour 2 of the RP Show brought to you by Suds. Are you stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards available online at our location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Visit sudsregina.com. All right, Westy, everybody's excited to hear from you, buddy. And I mean everybody, with the Babcock stuff, with the Jim Hiller stuff. I don't even know how to intro you other than legendary West Coast hockey and baseball broadcaster. We got 20 minutes, Westy, just so you know. Go.
Well, I'll defend Mike Babcock. I spent 4 years with Mike, and I was his practice goalie. He had great respect for me, so I had the utmost respect for Mike. The last time I saw him, he greeted me like an old friend. And if he gets that job with the Oilers, does he push? Yes. One of his underlings, of course, was Todd McClellan, and we know what Todd has done. Most certainly, and we know what Mike has done. Mike's won a cup, and they like guys to win cups. Can he win two? That's the biggest question, and that window is closing for the Oilers very quickly.
By the way, Westy, where are you? L.A., Vegas, Pacific Northwest? Where are you at these days?
Richland, Washington, and out the back door is the country club that I live on, the golf course. So I'm just taking a few minutes off my sales job. Decided I'd come home and do the interview and then head back out and do some sales with Jacobs Radio.
Okay, I appreciate that. So how this all came up, me reaching out to you, was when Hiller got hired in Toronto, and I'm sorry to tell you, if you haven't seen it, it hasn't been met with a lot of positive results in Toronto. I'm like, who knows Hiller real well? Westy.
Well,
and that's why I reached out to you. Go ahead.
Jim, I think, is a great hire, and especially with Chayka, it's going to be two guys that understand analytics, and that was why Mike hired in Detroit, reached out and got Jim Hiller. In fact, he came up with the true performance while he was working for the Tri-City Americans back in about 2011, 2012. Renka was one of his teammates at Northern Michigan when they won the crown, the NCAA crown back in 1992 when they were partners and started this. And in fact, now it's being run by his son Talon in Los Angeles. Several of the NHL teams, including the Kings, are clients, and I'm sure probably Toronto is a client as well. A lot of NHL teams use it. It is impeccable, and I know when he showed it to me back in 2012, one of the things he was intrigued on with me is I'm a big Tampa Bay Rays fan, and they had just analytically made it to the World Series in 2008. There was a book written by a former writer of the Montreal Expos, and he went through the whole thing for it. And I had the book. The Extra 2% was the name of the book. I forget the writer. But he was very intrigued by it and wanted to read it. And he read the book and he goes, but they didn't tell us how they did it. I said, nobody's going to tell you how they do it. You do it. I said, but what they did do is give you enough insight to go for it. So he became very serious about this. And he developed a way. He said, the biggest thing, he said, the worst stat in hockey is plus minus. And why is it a bad stat? Well, it's simple. Plus minus is a bad stat. You can have a great shift and some dummy turns over the puck over in the other wall, and you're going to get a minus because somebody else made a mistake. You may have thrown 5 good hits, had 2 shots, and you don't get credit for that. Well, in analytics, you do. And so he saw this before it came. And I tell you, agents love the stuff, that's for sure, because they could use that to negotiate great deals for their clients.
You have the utmost respect for Mike Babcock. You think Jim Hiller's a great hire for Toronto. We're just knocking these all off, and we can come back on them and probably will. But Kelly McCrimmon says the haters are just jealous. What do you think?
My grandson, who's 19, Kaysen, lives just outside of Portland, Oregon. He loves the Vegas Golden Knights. And I sent him that interview with Krim, and he just thought it was fantastic. You're a typical 19-year-old. I said, this guy, as I've known Kelly for 36 years, and you'll always know where you stand, and you have too. I mean, you know where you stand with Krim right off the bat. And he likes you, you're good. He doesn't like you, well, you know where you stand. Let's put it that way. And he doesn't hold a grudge. You may disagree. He does not hold a grudge. But the one thing is, he's extremely intelligent. I think he's a fantastic manager. And what they've done, being an expansion team and being in the Stanley Cup Finals, 1/3 of the last 9 years is phenomenal. And everybody was led to believe in Seattle that the Kraken were going to do exactly what they did. Hey, we're going to do this. They didn't make one trade. Stu Barnes was one of the pro scouts. He said, we didn't get one call. No one would return our calls. Well, I owe that to the Vegas Golden Knights. Why? Because they were so successful. What was it? 3 or 4 GMs lost their jobs from the deals that they made. It was unbelievable. So, and you still, one of the deals still there at Shea Theodore. How's he worked out for him?
Well, you brought up Seattle. I mean, I'm sitting there with glee watching Krim's clip because he's like, we had the same expansion rules as Seattle. Where are they? Like, he didn't need to say these things, Westy. So obviously he'd had enough. He'd had enough of the hate.
He should have had enough. They did their job. He's a guy with an MBA. He isn't stupid. And McPhee is another guy with an MBA. Probably two of the smartest guys in hockey working together. It's probably not fair. It's kind of the Rush Limbaugh. I could do this with half my brain tied behind my back. Is the two guys outsmart everybody else in the league. They are smart.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, I mean, you and I saw this for many, many years. I wonder when NHL fans are going to get on and realize that Vegas is always going to be good. So I said that today, and some guys lambasting me, saying, how do you have a sports talk show with a stupid take like that? Because I've seen it. Vegas is always going to be competitive. Do you not agree?
Have you ever known a more competitive guy than Kevin McCrimmon?
Absolutely not.
And we're guys. We like to compete. Women like to compete too, but we learned from kids you don't like to lose. And I don't care whether it's business, whether we're in radio, we don't want to lose in ratings. I mean, I've got a couple of number one stations that I'm dealing with here. I like to win. I want to win, and I like to be with a winner. And I think everybody likes to associate with a winner. And, you were talking about who's going to take over in Henderson. Well, how about Kissio? He's sitting there as the assistant coach. He's ready to plug in. Well, how's that for a candidate right there?
They got a lot of great options there.
Yeah,
with Henderson. Jamie Heward, I believe it's Joel Ward. Yeah,
perfect.
We've brought up Seattle a couple of times. Let's just take a second on that because we got a lot of viewers through the West. Hasn't really gone, I guess, clearly the way they've been firing coaches, mind you. So is Vegas, but I would say it hasn't really gone according to plan. You've seen it, front row seat. What's your take on the history of the Kraken?
Questionable, and I think it can go from really the start, how they drafted the team and how it was built, how they sold it to the fans. Jerry Bruckheimer is one of the owners, and I know when I went to the game and they sent me a questionnaire, I said I expected to be blown away by a guy that made great action movies with video and everything at the game, and I said I was underwhelmed. And, whether they took that to heart, it was a little bit different the next time. They kicked up the next year what the game presentation was. You go to a Vegas game, it's like you went to a Vegas show. And you're almost disappointed when the game starts because the pregame show for 7-8 minutes is that good. It's like, oh, we're going to play the game now. It's that good. It's Vegas is a big pool party, and in Seattle, they bring back grunge, and I'm not a grunge fan.
Okay? Say no more. Yeah, you said it. You just said it. But in Vegas, they beat the brakes off everybody on the ice, off the ice, and that what brings the hate. I think we can put that to bed. You're such a great
it's a party. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, you're such a great baseball guy. Can we talk about MLB for a sec and the Dodgers buying the World Series every year, and if that's bad for baseball and this work stoppage we're headed to?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Being an Angelino, living there through age 20, growing up a Dodger fan, I can't stand them now. And here I root for one of the teams that's the poor teams that finds a way to compete with the other teams because they're smarter than everybody else, the Tampa Bay Rays. And I went with them. I spent 4 years with Joe Madden with the Angels in Palm Springs back in the 80s before I went 1990 and left for Spokane to come into the Western Hockey League. And I got to know Joe. And so when Joe went in 2005, I'm going with Joe. And I've never left, even though, Joe is retired now. But the Dodgers, there's a lot of things. Everybody in baseball, I never grew up thinking they'd become the Yankees. And I always hated the Yankees for that very reason. And now they have become the Yankees on steroids. They've got a $500 million deal that they get from Japan. They don't have to share that money. They keep the money. They've got a $350 million a year deal with Spectrum that 100,000 people watch Dodger television. It's only on the Spectrum if you want to watch it. And it's $350 million a year for 25 years. They don't have to share that money. And they found a way to circumvent the cap, basically, with the taxes and defer money. The state of California wants every dollar you ever made. That's why I don't live there. And here they want to find a way to tax Otani, who's making $700 million, but they've deferred $680 million of it to when he can collect it in Japan and make less money. So basically paying him $2 million a year. And within the first week, the Dodgers made back with sponsorships out of Japan his salary. Now that's smart business, or is that big market? The NFL would be out of business if it weren't for Pete Rozelle back when I was a kid. And Rozelle was a PR guy for the Los Angeles Rams. And they said, hey, this will be our commissioner. What he did, he came from media. He made them pool every dollar. And baseball has got to get to that point where they pool every dollar. So the Cincinnati Reds, who were the first pro team in 1869, can share in this instead of going broke. This idea that everybody is equal in tax money and share. It's not. It is to do business. But markets are never going to be the same, and 32 markets will never even out, ever. Vegas Golden Knights make a lot of money, but it's a unique market, that it's a transient market. It's not New York City. It's not Los Angeles.
Well, I'm kind of a little surprised just because you are a Dodger fan, because most LA guys that I know, and you would know some of these names, Greg Zahn, Blue Jays great, Jim Barker, a CFL great, who is from LA. They're all still Dodgers fans because they like to win. But you just got sick of the way they're doing it, basically.
It's turned my son off, who hung out with me, and I did, baseball for 16 years. And, he worked with some great major league guys. Carlos Beltran was a guy that befriended him. And it just turns him off, the money. And Nolan has been in the Army since 2003 and does security work now. And he just says, Dad, these guys, the money is stupid. He said, I can't relate to it. He says, I take Case into a game a couple of years ago for his 16th birthday, go to a Kraken game, and I'm spending with hotel and buying tickets for his birthday, special because he loves the Golden Knights. It cost me $600. That shouldn't be that way. Shouldn't be that way. $600.
No, it's not stopping. It's not stopping. Okay, tell me a good Bab story or tell me a good Dub story. I mentioned Spokane. You strike me. I think of you as a Spokane guy. I don't know if you think of yourself as a Spokane guy, but I do. Just give me a good Spokane Boone Street barn story or something.
Oh man, there are so many of them.
Yeah.
Mike, there was an incident with Tri-City Americans, and I was the practice goalie this week. Won't say which goalie was hurt, but they got ready for the Americans on Saturday night. And that was back in the days we had VCR tape. And every day before practice, the one thing, Mike never isolated me from the guys. He made me as a part of the team. And the guys treated me like I was part of the team. And he said, guys, I just want to show you one thing. And it was a line brawl that the Americans started. This was back in 96, 97. And it got pretty ugly. And then there were things that the announcer said on the air. And he let the guys listen to it for 5 days. Okay, just want to show you that. Let's go out and practice. And then on Saturday night, we played the game.
And how'd that game go? How'd it go?
It was absolutely a rock'em sock'em game. And I mean, I was ready to go over and bop the other broadcaster, by the time it was done. Two guys that were friends of mine. He has a psychology degree, sports psychology degree. He understands how to get to you. He knows where to go.
Yeah, that clip lives on Infinity on YouTube, by the way. I know the exact brawl you're talking about. Was that not Dale Josephson went off the ice to the dressing room and came back or something?
There was a lot. I mean, but it was, in fact, Ian Furness was doing the call, who now does some Kraken games and is their host. Does an absolutely fabulous job. And then Grant Lennon, who ended up being my color guy. And I know when I came here, I said to Grant, I said, we won't be doing any of that on the air. He had no idea that had happened, that they'd become the two of them became the focal point and the rallying cry for Saturday night's Americans game. It was just amazing.
Those were good times, weren't they? 90s Western Hockey League.
Let me say that.
Yeah, well, we only got a couple minutes left, but I will say that you said there was an incident. You notice how there's really no incidents anymore? Why is there no incidents anymore, Westy?
They've taken that out of the game. And to be honest, there's probably major sponsors that don't want any part of that. And, of course, people are different today. And then I think we can look at Claude Lemieux and his death. I'm going to have a hard time believing that wasn't CTE. And guys that I've been around that have passed that had CTE, it's a definitely sobering fact for all of us to deal with. I'm glad the days are done.
There's a blast from your past. I was just talking to Perry Shockey last night, and he said to say hey, and we were talking about Lemieux. And I said, when all's said and done, we're going to find out something with Lemieux's brain, exactly what you just said.
I spent at the draft in 2011, and that was where Derek Bugard went up and did the draft for Minnesota after his brother had passed away. And, of course, he'd played with us and was setting up with – we had a suite. Set the whole Saturday afternoon of day 2 of the draft and talked the entire time. It's like we'd known each other forever, Lemieux. And when he passed, I was just devastated. I could tell you stories for hours, but we just went on and knew so many of the same people. And he was such a likable guy that you felt like you knew him forever. And it was heartbreaking to me.
Well, that was the thing with Shocks. We were talking about that, and he goes, how do you prevent that? Because Shocks is because everything that I've heard, he showed no signs. And I said, how you prevent that is talking to each other, period. That's what you got to do.
And to show you how his mind was working, 3 hours before this occurs, he was finishing a contract for an entry-level player with Utah. He did his job to the final end. And he made sure every I was dotted, every T was crossed.
Absolutely. And 4 Stanley Cups, and nobody, unfortunately, really remembers that. Westy, this has been long overdue. All your fans and friends say hey, including the great Ernie Waldner, who said to say what's up. Good to see you, Westy.
Yeah. Oh, hey, one thing. Scott Gomez was really devastated. And he and Lemieux were very close. And Scotty put out that he would have every day Islands and
they're going to cut us off. Sorry, Westy, they got to cut us off. We'll finish that story next time. We'll be right back on Silver State Sports and Game Plus streaming.
For a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Sask Tigs.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Going to get to a sports update here and then really viewer takeover the rest of the way. So if you're watching on Silver State Sports, text us 902-518-3033 or the YouTube chat. I'm still chuckling at this. Here's the headline from yahoo.com where I get my news. I get my news from a place called Yahoo. Japanese World Cup fans used 6 words to describe Texas, and it's going viral. I'm like, oh, I got to click on this. They weren't running it down. The Japanese people don't do that. They're very polite and the most disciplined race on the planet. Asians, they loved it. Very positive people. The sports update. Hang on. My God, every day I get into this with this computer. Where do I start? Sports TV is booming. U.S. sports viewership is going gangbusters across the board right now with the most watched NBA final since 1998, the most watched Stanley Cup Stanley Cup playoffs ever. World Cup viewership is up 152% so far compared to 4 years ago, and the most watched opening weekend ever for the College World Series. That's if you believe the numbers. The Knicks plan to become the first NBA team to visit President Donald Trump at the White House. According to team owner James Dolan, no NBA team has visited Trump during either of his 2 terms. The Maple Leafs are hiring former Kings coach Jim Hiller, and the Golden Knights are promoting longtime assistant and AHL coach Ryan Craig. The Oilers are the last remaining NHL head coaching vacancy. I'll tell you, with the crowd that I run with, they talk hockey morning, noon, and night. I love it. And they were asking me about Ryan Craig taking over. He played junior hockey for Kelly McCrimmon for 5 seasons in Brandon. He's from Abbotsford, BC. To be honest, he played in the NHL far longer than I thought he did. 6 seasons as an assistant with the Golden Knights, and then with the so. If you weren't looking at this and just said he had nothing to do with Kelly McCrimmon, you would go, "This guy's ready. This guy's paid his dues," was the term that somebody said to me the other day. And the Golden Knights don't make mistakes, so we expect that to work out. But I'll tell you what, how great was Westy there, which I knew he would be, with his Jim Hiller stories and his Mike Babcock stuff. There are people that do swear by Mike Babcock. I wrote it down. I have the utmost respect for Mike, said Craig West. So, I mean, not everybody hates him. I don't hate him. But if I'm choosing between Bruce Cassidy and Mike Babcock, I know who I'd be hiring. So, again, something has happened here. And je ne sais quoi. I do not know what. Fun to follow, though. Very interesting. The WNBA that has been rapidly adding more teams will now be adding more, increasing the schedule from 44 to 50 games per team next season. That's the maximum allowed by the new CBA until 2029. And MLB is returning a swing-based system for next month's Home Run Derby in Philadelphia, ditching the timed rounds that have been used in the competition since 2014. Participants will get 20 swings in the first round and 15 in the final 2, with the caveat being that the final swing continues until it doesn't result in a home run. And that, since I've been working in baseball, and if we had more time with Westy, I feel like we got to bring him back. I would ask him his thoughts on broadcasting baseball versus hockey. I don't know if he's ever done football, but when we had our home run derby in our league here, I stood right beside home plate, and I was filming it with the All-Stars. You wouldn't believe how physically taxing it is on those guys. Like, just swinging a bat, they're like out of breath. And these guys are NCAA athletes. They're kids, and they are in shape. It's something to watch. But I don't like the time. As many pitches as you can throw in a time never really did make a lot of sense to me. I like what they're doing here. Anyways, when we come back, lucky you, the big soccer jersey reveal. Ooh. First time in my life, 53 years and I don't know how many days, I'm wearing a soccer jersey because I'm hosting a live stream this afternoon for Canada, Qatar, and the company that's putting it on sent me their jersey to wear, and I've never had it in my life. I'm excited about it. We'll unveil that and have some fun with you when we come back for overtime in a moment. You're watching the RP Show here on Game Plus streaming, our own YouTube channel, podcast, WQVZ Radio, and, of course, across Nevada on Silver State Sports.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and
and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Okay, everybody, we're back here for Overtime, proudly presented by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. For all those that are going to the big old CFL game in Calgary this weekend, Saskatchewan Roughriders at the Calgary Stampeders, the game that you viewers voted as Canada's Game of the Week. Stop on into Overtime Hockey Lanes on Saturday. Do yourself a favor. Or Friday. $20 an hour lane time. They got the sticks there. They got the pucks. Just say, hey, you're a friend of Rod's. Say hey to Randy and Michelle, and you're not going to be able to leave. Trust me. Dun, 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 dun. As I said, here's the soccer reveal. How about this thing? BC Game is the global crypto casino that's sponsoring our live stream this afternoon. If you care, go to my Twitter, at Rod Pedersen. This is the pinned tweet, Moose and I. The link is there from Gosh. To be honest, I'm going to wear this thing a lot. I could wear this to the football game in Calgary Saturday night. It does not look that weird. This thing came all the way from Europe. They found me here. We're going to be watching Canada, Qatar, Moose and I doing a live stream, and it's just going to be big fun. By the way, as I say, 902-518-3033. We were talking earlier with Westy about everything. Jim Hiller being hired by the Leafs, Kelly McCrimmon calling out the haters, Mike Babcock to Edmonton, and also the death of Claude Lemieux. Brent in the Bridge City writes in, he says, it was so very sad when Claude Lemieux died. I will say this earlier because, there's been a lot of texts have come in. From Big Earn wrote in, he says, in typical fashion, Westy had to be cut off. That's why I prefaced it at the very start. I said, Westy, we got 20 minutes. We got 20 minutes, Westy. And we ran out of time, but we'll bring him back. He's just a gem. But Kyle wrote in and said, tell me more about the hate you face in the therapeutic community. Well, thanks for that. That's the mental health space that I talk about. And with the Claude Lemieux death, I was on the phone last night with Perry Shockey, who coached with Mike Babcock in Spokane, and Westy was the radio guy. All the worlds are coming together. It's really good. And we were talking about mental health and how I work with that and professionally. And my phone's ringing off the hook, to be honest, which is fine. That's where I spend most of my time. That's why I don't have a lot of time to get bogged down in the crap and the fake news, and just call a news conference and I'll watch it or I'll be there. But I'm dealing, we're busy saving lives. So anyways, my counselor in started 2017, when I was doing this coaching, he called me and he goes, 90% of my time is spent defending you. And I said, why? They're like, they don't like the way you do things. I said, I don't care. I'm too busy doing it my own way. And here's an example. He said, even he didn't really like the way I was doing it. He goes, you need to have people on the couch for an hour in your office. I said, that doesn't work when they're in Houston or New York or crises hit and we can't wait till Wednesday at 3. That's why my phone's always on. 5 minutes on the phone can get somebody straightened out rather than, I don't see a therapist for another 2 weeks. The problem's now. What do we say? Addiction doesn't wear a watch, nor do crises. So that's how I've been operating my business for 9 years now, Pedersen Recovery. So and then they hate. I mean, whatever. It's no different than what Kelly McCrimmon's did. He's too busy winning. What did Shooter McGavin say? Hey, Shooter, what did you think of the round by Happy Gilmore? I don't know. I was too busy winning. And the only way that I came up with coaching people over the phone was from watching Suits. And Louis Litt was always on the phone to his counselor, remember? He would lay down on the windowsill of his office and be on the phone. Louis, can't talk now. I'm busy. It works. Brent in the Bridge City writes, and his nice shirt, Rod, looking great. I waited 53 years to wear a soccer shirt, and I'm sitting here going, why have I not been wearing this my whole life? BC Game. And, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I'm going with the flow. What do they say? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm too young to retire, so let's sort this out. BC Game, Global Crypto Casino, sponsoring our live stream this afternoon. Came with a list of stipulations. And it's funny because John Murph, he's down there in Houston. He's rounding up sponsors for the CFL coverage. I said, Murph, you do that? I got my hands full here doing our thing. But he wants to do live streams for CFL games. Murph's been on this show a couple times the past couple weeks on the Silver State portion of the program and the streaming everywhere else. And everybody's excited. I was talking to my good friend Brent from Wellington, Florida earlier this week, and I said, how's things going with you? He's like, summer doldrums. I'm like, maybe in Florida where there ain't much going on. There isn't. Aside from the Marlins, everybody's trying to stay cool right now. Where we're at, things are going on. Now, having said all that, we won't be talking about this on this show, and we won't be talking about it tomorrow, but they're all worked up in Florida about where Sergei Bobrovsky is going to go, and I'm like, I love it. Follow our Cats and Bolts podcast Instagram account for that and Twitter. We'll deal with it there. Here, we got a lot of stuff to do. So we covered it all. I mean, obviously, we didn't mention the Blue Jays. They beat the Red Sox yesterday, didn't they? I mean, there's just so much going on. There's too much going on. Andres Jimenez had 2 hits, an RBI, and 3 steals. Vladdy Jr. drove in 2 runs, and Toronto beat the Red Sox 3-0 Wednesday night. And the Blue Jays also play scheduled starter Max Scherzer on the injured list. We talked about the Knicks going to visit Trump. We did not talk about their parade today, but that looked like a hell of a lot of fun. Thousands of people in Lower Manhattan showing up for the first Knicks championship parade ever because they didn't have one back in 1973. Yeah. So, hey, you can choose to be in a good mood or choose to be in a bad mood. There is one thing I know for sure. Happiness is a choice. That's a choice you can make every damn day. And these guys today made me real happy, and you as well. So thank you, Westy. Thank you, Kevin the Medium. Kevin the Medium will be with us tomorrow for a Football Friday. And I'm hoping Mike Davis of the Vegas Nighthawks. I haven't chatted with him, but we'll get it all lined up. Thank you, producer Corey. You as well. And we'll do it all again tomorrow. In the meantime, follow our social media channels at The Rod Pedersen Show and check out our live stream today, 6 p.m. Eastern. And we'll do it all tomorrow on the RP Show here on Silver State Sports, Game Plus, and WQBZ.
That